Well, thank you so much for coming. Lots of new faces in this room. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Lizy Hoeffer, and I am officially the #1 female loan officer in the whole entire country. Okay, so, yeah, that was clappable for real. So, why I'm credible to teach this class is 5 years ago, I had a professional, just collapse. I got fired from my job. And when you get fired from your job, they take your computer, they take, the database, they take everything that you have built forever, right? Because you don't, well, at least I didn't think to back it up. Okay, so that was me, and I had to quickly figure out how to restart my business. So since April 2013, so I'm about to have, 2014, I'm about to have my 5th anniversary. I have built a mega business that started at 167 loans and is now well over 800. Okay, wow. So I can tell you that there is power in social media. And so how I built my business, guys, is I synced my cell phone with Facebook. And back in the day, it used to allow you to do that. And I just started messaging people. I put an ad out to my long-lost clients, and I started posting authentically about my journey of getting fired from my job and what it looked like. Okay, so we're going to talk about a lot of those strategies, how we use our databases for social media, and then we're going to be talking about just some latest strategies that I've learned because I'm in an elite mastermind with some entrepreneurs that primarily focus on online businesses, so they generate 100% of their leads online, so we're going to be talking about how to lead gen online as well. Okay, but for starters, I want to catch you up on where the latest things that are happening in Facebook. Okay, so just in general, latest stuff. Okay, so last year they made an algorithm change that basically made it so that your personal connections you were seeing more often. Okay, you do see quite a bit of sponsored ads, but they filter organically. It's more things that you want to see. It's not, they just don't filter you through ad. Okay, so they're really promoting all of your personal relationships. So it is my belief, and there are going to be lots of opinions, guys. The wonderful thing is that everyone's entitled to their own. But my opinion is that most of our business communication should be done through our personal pages. Okay, this will make some of you uncomfortable. I get it. Okay, but that's my opinion. So everything that I tell you right now is based on a personal Facebook strategy. We'll talk about ads in a second. Okay. So just so you know, here's what gets your rankings higher in Facebook, just in general, is your content negative? Okay, so negative content, they have researched, will take people off of the app. So if your content is do not do this, or you would be dumb if, or do you have wrinkles? Do you notice those are gone? Right? Are you 50 pounds overweight? Do you notice that those ads are straight up gone? And I saw an ad the other day and I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what they're talking about. It was, if you're over the age of 30, let me teach you a new technique with highlighting, right, for makeup. And I thought, oh my gosh, so let's learn a new technique. Not hey, you're accentuating your wrinkles. Yeah. Right, that, because that's essentially what that does. Right, so they've taken the trends, because in advertising and traditional marketing, they've always taught us to steer towards the negative. Yeah. Right, they go, negative news sells. Right, don't do this. Don't get caught up in this. But they have found that that is the kind of stuff that will take them off Facebook, so guess what Facebook does? It limits the amount of people that will see your post to your raving fans. How many of you know who your raving fans are on Facebook? Oh yeah, I know. Okay, it's probably less than 10 people. Yeah. Okay, so that is scary stuff. Okay, so we just always want to be really aware of that. The next thing is, within the first couple of minutes, Facebook wants to see a bunch of engagement. It's typically a like per minute. Okay, so if you're posting stuff, and at first, guys, you're going to post stuff, it's not going to get a lot of engagement because we're going to talk about engagement processes. But if you're not getting engagement right away, it's going to say people aren't interested in this. So they want to see engagements, they want to see comments, and they want to see shares. Okay? So how do you do that? Okay? So here's how I have found to do that. And it's through being what's called a thought leader. Okay? So we all are experienced in real estate or experienced in some industry that's related to real estate, or you have had an interest in real estate, so now you're here, okay? But everyone has a basic baseline of information that they can share, okay? For the most part, though, we try to be rather neutral with our marketing and our education because we are worried about offending people. Yes or no? Yes. Yeah? Okay. So here's the deal. Nobody wants another how-to, and nobody wants to just see regurgitated information they could Google themselves. Okay? So I know that that was very blunt, but it's actually the truth. And so if you were looking for information, so if you were looking for something to take you to the next thing, it's you have an opinion, what is it? So a couple of examples if you follow me on social media. And if you don't, my name is spelled with one Z. And so it's Lizy Hoeffer. And then there's a second last name, Irvine, attached to that. So if you would see, there was a post that I did, and it was called, Goals Are for Losers, okay? Right, I'm taking a thought that everyone well knows, right, and I'm using a very bold opinion, right, because I'm trying to be slightly controversial, and when I'm talking about controversial, I choose to not get into politics, religions, you know, I'm talking about one topic area, and then I go, but let me tell you why, okay, and I talk about how New Year's resolutions are just crap, because like 3 months later, you see that everyone's still overweight and they're broke. Right? You're like, I thought you were going to do that, right? But here's why. They scientifically have proven that when you tell somebody else your goal, right, that your brain cannot tell the difference between you actually accomplishing it and just stating it out loud. You get a serotonin reward in your brain the second you tell another person. And they go, wow, good for you, right? So I started talking about this, and I said, you know, what I have done to break records is I just focus on a process and a plan and all my issues, right? I know where I want to go, but I'm really talking about my issues. I'm really focusing on what's not working. What do I have to change to get to that next level? I said, you know, just my 2 cents, guys. If you're interested in my proven process, let me know below. I got like 20-something comments like in the first day or so. And then I got 17 comments on Instagram. I mean, there were people that reached out to me personally, so it was something that got a lot of engagement right off the bat, okay? So, and it got like, I don't know, like 200 likes. I mean, the thing people were paying attention to it, okay? Now, I was very bold, right? I said, hey, goals are for losers, right? That's gonna be like, whoa, stop, why the heck did you say that? And I challenged that rule, just so you know, about positivity. Right, just right in the first thing, okay? So I probably would have had even more engagement had I chosen a different thing, but I really just wanted to just go there, okay? Now, that's being a thought leader. It's taking a thought and having an opinion about it and then giving people like a wanting to come back. So here's how that looked like a week later, or 3 days later. I actually gave a keynote to a mortgage company of 800 people about what it looks like to get fired. And actually, my speech was called Goals Are for Losers. And I had this whole YouTube video, you can actually see it on YouTube, and it talked about like submitting to a process and when you're in survival mode, how you just don't have time for goals, right? Like the only goal you have, and if you're just starting in real estate, this should be your only focus too, okay, is you gotta survive, right? We gotta figure out what the next step is to get business. So it was all about submitting to the process, figuring out your issues list, and just knowing that sometimes goals can be caps on your potential, right? So we're capping our potential because prior to getting fired, guys, let me tell you the truth, I actually had goals every year. That's like, I'm the poster goal child, like, you know, every time. And I only got to 167 loans, my best year ever. And I always wanted to get to 200. I always wanted to get to 60 million, and it just never quite made it there. And so I just really feel that like when you submit to a process, right, so then I post this video, right, so I have an opinion, I post this video, and then the third post after that is, hey guys, I just posted my blog on my proven process, you know, let me know what you think. Again, tons of engagement. I am now sending them to my personal website that guess what that has? A ton of mortgage information and my loan application, right? So I'm not telling you to go help me with home loans. I'm just giving them information and then sending them there, and they're like, oh, she does home loans, right? So that's what being a thought leader looks like. It's taking this conversation, having an opinion, and stretching it out, okay? So that way, because look, when people go into news feeds, right, they may or may not see your first post, right? They may see one post and be like, oh, she just talked about this, and then go find it on the next one, right? So if you have really, really engaging like content, even if people disagree with you, let's say that they really just got fired up, they're like, that girl is, you know, not smart, right? Like they were gonna say that, right? They got so angry. They would still take the time to read it, right? Just so they could disagree with me. Right? It's still engagement. Okay? So you just want to have really good thoughts when you're putting out content. Okay? Does anyone have a question about that? Okay? Because we're going to talk about how to make that a little bit more complicated. I also do this with debt and budgeting. So I've done it the same way. So I've talked to people about how I personally got out of debt. I provided a video. I told my personal story with like freezing my credit cards. I mean, the whole 9 yards, right? So I'm being very vulnerable. The other thing here, guys, is authenticity, right? How many of you feel comfortable sharing your skeletons? Okay, right? That was like 3 people in the room, okay? Here's the deal, when we share pain, right, it really connects us, especially if we're sharing the lesson in the pain, okay? So when I got fired from my job, the most powerful thing I did, and I did this just naturally because I don't like people to have anything on me, okay? So I don't want people to go, that's a job, right? Like that's just not gonna happen. So I just said, hey guys, I got fired from my job for what's called a TILA violation. What that means is the fancy word for disclosing a loan wrong, okay? Now that's the technical reason I got fired, but let me tell you, that had nothing to do with it. I just wasn't very likable, and I think I'm a work terrorist. Straight up. I did, of course. But here's the deal, and so I talk about this journey of like, how I, you know, being a perfectionist and always wanting everything perfect, and just like what that pressure is when you're always overachieving all the time, and how I overachieved myself out of a job. Right, I was like one of their top producers. It's like very, very difficult, guys, when you're in real estate to get fired when you're a top producer. Yeah. Like, you know, you like really gotta be an asshole. Like that's just what happened. And so I told this story, and then I said, but guys, I have learned one of the biggest lessons of my entire life. And I promise, if you give me a second chance, I will never screw this up. Right? I will work harder, I will be better, and I promise I will never let you down. And I wrote this whole thing, and it was like, I mean, it went viral for my database, okay? Right? I've had like 400 people like it, which back in Facebook day, I mean, guys, this is like a lot. If you have a post that has 400, and I was like, this has power, right? And how many of you can relate with being a perfectionist? Okay? And like, really just like, you know, that the path to hell is led with good intentions. Like, you really feel like that was about your life, right? Like, you just, you know, it just stinks sometimes. So there were so many people that connected with my story, and then I realized, this is gold, right? I got so many failures. I could just be sharing them out to the world, right? So now something bad happens, and I'm like, I am going to write about this. I'm going to share this. I'm going to help somebody. Because if you can inspire them, guys, if you can educate them, if you can make them laugh, right, those are all the best engagements, right? So I want to challenge you guys to be bold and then be vulnerable, okay? Now, the next thing with social media, guys, if we're following rules, you do not want to post links that take people outside of the apps. So Instagram or Facebook, you do not want to post links. So like, if it was an amazing news article, everyone's got to read it, take a picture of it with your phone, and then post a picture of the article. Okay, and then say links are in the comments. Okay, it's so important that you don't send people away, because again, like Facebook wants, they get advertisement money based on how long people stay on the app. So if you're sending them away, right, how many people do you think they're going to allow you to see? Okay, unless you're paying Facebook, right? So you just have to keep that in mind. So I post a lot of YouTube videos, right? I just always make sure that I'm doing like a 15-second clip that I upload directly to Facebook and just what it's about, and then I say link is in the bio or link is in my comments. Okay, so it's just stuff to keep in mind. Now, there's many social media classes that will tell you that you have to post every single day or at least 5 times a week. I used to be a believer in that, but I'm going to tell you right now that quality is way better than quantity. And actually, when I went into this elite mastermind, right, everyone's like a coach or they sell a network marketing or they did all this stuff. The first thing they said to me was like, oh, you're a woodpecker. And I'm like, what? What is a woodpecker? They're like, you're just peckering everyone with information. And I'm like, oh my God, is that what I did? Because I went to all of these classes online, people who knew better, and they're like, oh, you gotta talk about the 5 things, right, that are important to you. So you gotta talk about what you like to eat, you know, your pets, your hobbies, your business, and your family, right? Like those are the 5 things you gotta be posting about, and you gotta post about them all the time. So I did that, and funny enough, it does actually work. It engages with you, and I would say that a lot of sales is how much people like you, okay? But what it doesn't do is it's not value. Like it's very shallow. We're not converting leads. We're not like leading the pack. We're not making people want to see more. Like if they happen to scroll by and they like the picture of your puppy, they're like, oh, I love this puppy. Like, do you know that, right? So we may get some followers from that. We may get some engagement, but it's not going to be the thing that's going to be like, wow, this is going to go viral or this is why people follow you, okay? So some of the things that they told me were about how everything that we post, and this is something you should write down because it is not in your packet, that everything we should post and all of our bios should be answering the 2 biggest problems or questions that our ideal client has. So the 2 biggest challenges, you can either provide solutions or answer the 2 biggest questions that they have. Now, here's what's going to be very challenging for some of you because you're real estate agents and technically you can sell anything, anywhere, right? So you were like, well, I will sell that $60,000 manufactured home in Buckeye if they pay me enough, right? Like, it's just, you're like, no. But let me tell you, you're like, 1 in like, I don't know how many, 40, right? It just happens, right? So just so you know, like, you're like, well, I don't want to pigeonhole myself as the investment person or the condo person or the first-time home buyer. Now, for my own business, I market primarily to first-time home buyers, okay? It does not mean I don't do investment loans. It does not mean that I don't do second homes or move-ups, but the majority of my clientele are first-time home buyers. So that's where I gear all of my marketing, and if I was going to post on social media to solve people's problems, it would be them, okay? So you have to look at your business as a whole and decide where does the majority of your clients fall? Like what demographic is that? Because here's the deal. I have not, and maybe I have lost a couple, but if there's 8,000 purchases being done a month here in Phoenix, which is like 6,000 to 8,000 roughly, right? And I'm only looking for like 100 of those, right? Is there enough business for me in just that one demographic? Right, there just is. So you just have to know that yes, you will lose some, but it's like that saying, don't trip over dollars to save pennies, right? It's the same kind of concept here. You really want to go all in, okay? So, having said that though, so you need to look at your business. If you have never looked at your business, guys, or if you're brand new, you want to gather like your friends list, your top referral partners. Who do you know? What age are you in? Like, what would you be purchasing? That would be a good place if you were starting out. If you've had a business before and you've never looked back, I want you to pull the last 2 years, and I just want you to write everything you know about these people. Was it a first-time home buyer? Was it a buyer? Was it a seller? Like, who were these people? Right? And then I want you to say, well, what would they come to me for? Okay? And here's what they're not going to come to you for. Okay? Anything you can find online. Straight up. Anything you can find online. So can you find a property online? Okay. Can you find interest rates online? Okay. What other things about real estate can you find online?
Everything.
Not everything. Okay? Deals, off-market properties, right? Negotiation skills, how to get your offer accepted, right? Like, these are all things that you would know from what? Your personal knowledge and expertise. Okay?
Especially first-time home buyers, they think that they can buy any property, like action properties, foreclosures. You have to explain them, no, you can't.
So, I think it's really good. So we're gonna talk about what a good post looks like in a second, because that's what's really good. But just staying in line with the rules, guys. So, we wanna stay on, so we talked about like what value you're doing, consistency, authenticity. The last thing is quality. Now, it does not have to be a professional photo. In fact, I would say that most people are going away from that right now. But it does have to be a clear image that's not fuzzy, not in like weird lighting. It has to be an enjoyable image. Okay, iPhones are really fantastic because they have that portrait setting, but you can kind of tell it's still an iPhone photo. Okay, you know, pay attention to what you're putting in. Okay, do you guys see that popular like Zillow photo where the guy is taking a picture of his bathroom and he's naked in the shower? Okay, don't be that guy. Okay, like put some thought into this. That's a real thing. He like legit posted it on his listing, right? He's like, oh, this is a good one, right? He was in the shower. It's like, oh, that's great. Yes, right? So you just want to really put thought into it. Make sure the lighting is good. Make sure it's clean, right? Pay attention to what you're doing, okay? So quality, value, consistency. I post, guys, 3 times to 5 times still per 7 days. And I may not always post in my feed, I may do stories, but I'm at least being very consistent in like my frequency, whether or not the method is different. Okay, and then again, vulnerability, sharing pain. Okay, so now you're probably curious on what a good post sounds like. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so when you post on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, you have to be answering those 2 questions, okay? Most everything comes down to time, money, or stress. Okay? So your ideal client will have one of those 2 problems, or 3 problems, okay? I deal with first-time homebuyers, okay? And so first-time homebuyers are worried about money, and they're also worried about the process. I, personally, do not want to associate myself with money problems because I still want my full commission. Do any of you feel that same way?
Yes.
Okay, so if you feel that way, then money would not be what you focus on. You would focus on stress and what the process looks like. Now, there are some people who advertise like flat fees or discounts, then you would target money. Does that make sense? So, if I was marketing a property to a first-time homebuyer, right? If I were a real estate agent, I would talk about like how easy would it be to buy this, right? Or I would talk about what the costs would be. But you can't just post like what I see most real estate agents do, because I follow a lot of them, is they're like, beautiful house in McDowell Mountain Ranch, you know, sale price X. That would be great. Hopefully somebody sees that, but like, why would they care about that one particular house unless they happen to be looking for that particular price point in McDowell Mountain Ranch? Right? So like, you know, like how you would want to market that is you'd want to say, the beautiful property for, you know, perfect for a first-time home buyer. You can get in with minimal down, right, and have a payment under X. Right? This is answering the questions. And oh, by the way, I have a proven process that helped over 800 homebuyers last year do this very thing. Right? Yes or no? So if it was somebody who was interested in it, wouldn't that be way more attractive than just the post of the house? Okay? The same thing with like if you guys had a really good deal, right? How do you think people search properties online when they're looking for deals?
Price range.
So they look up price range. What keywords do you think they use?
Location.
Foreclosure, short sale. Foreclosure-like deal. Right? Like, am I right though? Did you ever think about that? Right? Foreclosure-like deal. McDowell Mountain Ranch. Like, this one is going to go quickly. Set some urgency. This is ideal for a move-up home buyer in best school district, blah, 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 right? Get into this coveted, you know, area, neighborhood, right, for 20% undervalued, right? This one's gonna go hot, guys. Like, you could market properties like that, right? So if people were on a deal, right, you're not saying, you know, you quantify the amount, right? But if you use buzzwords like foreclosure like, you're basically saying it's a great deal without saying this is a great deal. Okay? Here's what you cannot do, guys. You can never market things that people will not market themselves. So the reason why this is a great deal is not a good sentence is because no one's going to go, horrible deal, buy this, money to that. Yes or no? So if you said foreclosure-like deal, right, there's a non-foreclosure, right? That's everything else, right? So you just want to make sure that you know how people are searching for things. The other thing is, guys, people are searching for things like school districts. They are searching for things like restaurants. They are searching for things to do, dog parks, all kinds of things. So if you know what they're searching, right, then that's how you have to market the property. And not by the address, guys, and not by the pictures. It's got to be like, you know, by what people are going to search. So how to find what people search is that there's tons of apps that help you with what's called AdWords. And if you look up keyword searches for things, you will find what people actually search. The more expensive the AdWord, guys, the more you should use it in your Facebook posts. Okay? So you wanted to see that. The other thing is, guys, you want to show people how easy it is to do. So if you're somebody who deals with first-time home buyers, could you tell a really amazing story about your client? Right? So I had a friend of mine who purchased a home, we did a whole credit plan, we had the guy save some money, we did a rescore to get him qualified for an FHA loan with down payment assistance, okay? And in the post, it said, hey, I am so super proud of you. I know that sometimes buying a home can be a couple more steps, right, for first-time home buyers. You really like power through working on credit, you know, saving your down payment. You total family man, and I'm just so super honored that I got to be a part of your process and that you trusted me and my proven process to help you get it done. Right? So I'm giving him tons of honor, I'm complimenting him, I'm saying, hey, there were some challenges here, but you overcame this like a champion, right? You are an awesome family man. Like, I am so proud to know you, and I'm so grateful you trusted me and my proven process. Do you see how that sounds? Right? So I'm like honoring him to death, but I'm also saying thank you for trusting me and my process. Right? And so you can post a beautiful photo of this, of the happy family, right? They feel so excited and so honored. And because you're paying them so much honor, do you think that they might share that with their friends and family?
Absolutely.
Okay. So getting tagged in other people's posts, guys, is so huge. How many of you guys take a picture of your clients at the closing table and send it to them? Cool. One really great way to get tagged in other people's photos is that. Okay? It's not official till it's on Facebook.
Yes.
I promise you, it works all day, every day. Right? People love this stuff and they don't think to take a picture. Like, you guys will want to remember this. This is so huge. Right? And guess what happens? When they tag you to it, it comes up in your memories. Right? So you can keep using it. Right? But you want to show people a pathway to success. Okay? Show them the deal that you just got somebody. Show them how much money you saved them. So how many people have their value proposition, like they know it at the top of their head? Do you, by any chance? You look very confident. That's why. No? You do. You seem so confident. I'm like, that guy knows everything. Right? Okay. Michael, you have a value proposition. Can we hear it?
Well, we have a flat rate when we sell. So
okay. So on average, how much does it save a client?
usually $6,000 to $7,000 on average.
Okay. If you're looking to save $6,000 or $7,000 on your next real estate transaction, call me. Right? What do you remember from that?
Savings.
6 to 7,000.
Yeah. Most people remember a $6,000 to $7,000. Most people will remember an odd number versus an even number though, just so you know, and typically 5s pop up in people's mind, which is why I have a $500 guarantee on closings, right? So, like, I know that first-time home buyers are totally freaked out when it comes to the process and losing their earnest money, and they don't know what's going to go on. So I'm like, look, I've got you. My team will get you closed. We're going to update you twice a week. And oh, by the way, if whatever human on my team screws this up and we close a day late, I'm going to pay you $500 because I know it costs you money to close late. Right? That just solves so many questions and problems, and it differentiates me from like almost all the other lenders. I don't know anyone else who has it, right? I'm sure someone else will get it, right? But just so you know, that's how you solve it. Okay, so I want you guys to try this because I'm going to show you how some things work on live feed right now so I can give you examples. So we're going to go primarily to Instagram because it allows you to save stories in highlights, and then it'll allow you to like talk about what I'm doing here, okay? So on my page, so I'm Lizy Irvine on Instagram. I need you guys to follow this real quick. Yeah. Okay. Lizy and then Irvine, like the city in California.
How apropos is that? That's like the lender capital of the world, right? Irvine? There's so many lenders there. Oh my God.
This is my married last name.
I love it. I know, right? What does that have to do
worked
with,
out.
right?
Okay. So when you get to my page, go to my bio. What's the first thing that you notice?
Buying a home is easier than you think.
Yep. I am selling from the moment you get there. So buying a home is easier than you think. My team helped over 800 families last year become homeowners with our proven process. Okay? Why not you?
Love it.
Okay? So what do your profiles say about you? Is it like realtor, dog lover, right? Right? Isn't that what they say? Is there like an emoji, right? Like just says house, right? This is what people put out there, okay? If people are finding you because they love your content, they're like, oh, that person's authentic, they're giving me lots of tips, they've got deals, they're awesome, and then they go to your page and you're like, well, dog lover, huh? Right? Unless they're a dog lover, that's not going to seal the deal for them. They want to know, hey, you are competent and mean business. Okay? So there's that. Then on my highlight reel, I have market updates. I have mindset, because I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. I have testimonials, thank you, and favorite books. Okay? So I have 3 ideal clients, guys. So my Instagram talks to all 3 of them. So straight up, so that's why mine. But if yours was just like clientele, so I do first-time home buyers, which is my primary, which is why my bio is dedicated to them. But I also do real estate and lending coaching. So the other ones are for them. Just bottom line. So, but I have some market updates. So anything that I post about the market, people can go see. So they can see how the FHA loan limits raised, the conventional loan limits raised, that there was this big update on FHA deals the other day. And then they can see testimonials from clients that have tagged me and said how great I do, right? Then this thank you one. So here's how most of these things will go. So here's my personal recipe for posting, guys. So I post 2 personal posts, right? I'm posting a personal opinion, I'm sharing a story, okay? Then I give value on whatever the same topic was. So remember, my opinion on goals, my video, personal story about goals, my proven process for breaking records, okay? That was my value piece, okay? And then I do a direct ask for business on social media. How many of you guys directly ask for business on social media? All right, guys, I'm so happy you're here today, okay? We feel uncomfortable as salespeople, right, asking for business, but this is what has to happen nowadays. There are so, would it surprise you to know that there's 57,000 real estate agents? Okay, that's a lot, guys. Like in all of lending, there's like 500,000, and that's like throughout all the, like Wells Fargo, Bank of America's, everybody, right? So you got 57,000 real estate agents here. I have significantly less competition. Okay, so you guys definitely have to ask. But I never feel bad asking right after I've provided so much value once ago. Okay, so this tab here, the thank you tab, I want you to see how I ask for referrals. Okay, so if you hit on it, it says, when you think of me, do you think of home loans? And it's a survey. It's okay if you watch it. Then the next one says, it's my absolute 100% promise to give you my absolute best. Then your referrals mean the world to me and my family. Okay? Right? So leave Lizy alone. Right? And then it says, please, right? Funny photo of me as a child. Okay? Did that seem too aggressive, honest?
No.
Okay, could you imagine yourself doing that, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay? So normally,
Someone said no.
here's the deal, you might not like post, you might change it up a little bit, but it wasn't aggressive, it wasn't like send me deals or else, right? It was like, hey guys, if you found value in all of the stuff I've been sending you, right, please know that your referrals are what keep me in business and keep allowing me to provide you with more value. Okay, so if you say that, right, so we're talking about 3 posts a week, right, to continue on a story, it doesn't seem that aggressive to constantly be reminding people. Because the worst thing ever, guys, is to go into a party, see a cousin, and then find out that they bought a house with someone else. And they're like, oh my God, that's right, you are a realtor.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know, right? I didn't know. I hate that. You're like, right? But you never know 100% because you weren't asking for their business. You just assumed that they would think of you when it came to real estate. Guys, do you know what goes on in other people's lives? Right? It sounds funny, right? But they're supposed to remember you with all the shit they have going on. Do you remember other people during your day? You're like, God, you know, so-and-so does, I've done it too, it sucks, right? So that's why you constantly have to be reminding people in a way that provides value, right? So if you have a fantastic deal and you guys, who do you know? God, here's a great post. I just got rid of my last listing, guys, so that means I can dedicate 24/7 to the next person who needs their home sold. Or, hey guys, I have this amazing listing, it's not on the market yet, this is a smoking deal, but I need a buyer, who do you know? Or, hey guys, I'm training a new agent in the office on how to market a property, does anyone want to know what their home is worth? How much you want to bet? Try that one out, the last one out today. Just say, hey, I'm just training a new agent on our team. They want to know what their house is worth, right? Or, hey, I'm just got into real estate. I'm being trained on how to value homes, right? Who would like to know what their house is worth? Okay, people who want to know what their house is worth, do what? They either want to sell or they want to refinance. Okay? I mean, occasionally they're just curious, but they're curious because a year from now they might want to sell, and a year from now they might want to refinance. Okay? I promise you, this stuff works, right? When people ask me how I'm doing, I never say, oh, good. I'm like, you know what? I could totally use your help. I am looking for such and such and such. And everyone every time is like, oh yeah, you know what? Hold on, let me help you. Right? I swear to God, guys, ask for help. Okay? So with that, guys, now I just want you to go to the posts, the actual post, right? And I'm going to show you how this works. Okay? So this was my very last post, right? So this is on Instagram because Facebook is really hard, guys. You have to navigate through everybody else's tagging, so we're just going to strictly focus on this. Okay, so this is me with a thing that says approved, okay? And it says, if you've been watching my videos, you would know that I started my investment journey converting my primary residences into rentals. Now, that is a very weak intro, okay? I did it that way because lenders are, you know, I got some haters, and I just can't be as aggressive as I want to be sometimes because people will report you, right? And I didn't have like all my disclosures on here, so I gotta tell my personal story. That's how I get away with that. But if I were you, I would say most people think you need 20% to buy a home. Right? That's what I would say. Most people think you need 20% to buy a home. especially an investment property. I have a strategy where you can buy a property with 3 to 5% down, occupy it for 2 years, and make it a rental. Okay? That is literally available to everyone, just so you know, but most people don't think of their own residences as investment properties. Okay? So I did a whole video on this, and I said, if you think about every purchase, every real estate purchase as an investment, it might help you get over the dated countertops in the kitchen, shag carpet, and whatever possessed the seller to paint an accent wall light green. Okay? Like, I'm trying to make them chuckle, but it's real stuff, guys. I get people are like, oh yeah, I don't want to buy it, the carpet is ugly. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, did you know that we could just ask the seller to help, you know, do a carpet replacement? Oh yeah, I know, but it also has gray paint, and gray was like 2000, you know, whatever. They say weird stuff to me. And I'm like, as their lender going, oh my God, come on, realtor partner, like help them see the vision, right? But if you talk to them about investments, which is what I always talk to people, I'm like, hey, this isn't your forever home. This is an investment property we're talking about, right? This home's gonna make you some money, right? It's a totally different one, okay? You know what I got? 3 leads off of this. Straight up 3 leads. If you look at the comments, 2 people tagged people I never knew and were like, you need to know about this. I did the same thing on Facebook, and I literally got a message that said, and you guys, this is a regular program I'm talking about. Like, who doesn't know that there's a 3 to 5% down program for buying your own house? I'm just telling people to make it a rental in 2 years. That's the difference between my special program. Okay? But it's all the way you talk about it. Like, I got this message. Let me see how you do though. And it read, hey Liz, I just saw your post about only needing 3 to 5% living in 2 years, and the property can become an investment property. I have a client that's highly interested. Here's their phone number. 3 leads. 3 leads. Okay? Could you do that kind of stuff with your business, solving problems for your clients? Okay? And you just have to be creative and think about what those clients are. Okay? Now the last thing I will tell you, how many of you guys use hashtags? And how many use hashtags on purpose and not just to be funny? Okay. How many of you use geo hashtags? Okay. Here's how you use a hashtag on purpose. How many of you guys have an area that you're focusing in? Okay. If you don't have one, get an area that you would like to specialize in, okay? I promise you it's an Instagram hashtag. It's not gonna like ruin your business, okay? I would like to do more business in Phoenix, so I looked at the most popular hashtags, okay? So I did Phoenix, Phoenix real estate, and then this thing called My PHX, because I saw it was the most popular, and I follow all of those hashtags, okay? And what I do is I scour for leads, okay, straight up. So the other day, I posted about this, and so I went go looking for people who are renting apartments. And I found a girl who was complaining that she only had 2 months left on her lease and that the landlord controlled the temperature and that it had to stay at 86 degrees and she was melting. She's like, 2 more months. And I'm like, you should really buy a home and then you can control your own thermostat. I straight up sent her a DM. Why? Because I'm looking for leads, right? Then I'm going and I'm engaging and I'm commenting and I'm bringing more people back to me that fall into my demographic. Like they just got married, they just got pregnant, I know that they're gonna have a life change that makes them need to move, and they currently live in Phoenix, okay? So I want them to be my followers now. I'm paying attention to their stuff, and also I gotta like them, right? Like, if they have a life event, I'm like, I'm not gonna follow, okay? So just know that they have to pass your gut test, and, right, they have to fall into your ideal client. Okay, so it's not everybody, right? If you follow those hashtags, it's not everybody, right? It's people that meet your ideal clientele. Okay, so that's how you use hashtags on purpose when you're looking for leads. Okay, so the last thing is stories, guys. So in this, I'm gonna see. So yesterday's stories, I just repeated what I already posted today. I said, hey, if you were thinking of buying an investment property but only have 3 to 5%, like I've got a solution for you. Right? Check out my video, link is in my bio, right? And that's the YouTube video. okay? So I always just kind of repeat the next day so that I'm just sharing the concept. I also post that 15-second clip that I had where I said, hey, this was what I personally did. What was cool about this, guys, is I had so many offline engagements. People wanted to know how many investment properties I had to purchase this way, you know, what were the downfalls, what things could they get caught in. And so I have more content for more stuff that then I can post about, right? So my follow-up post is gonna be like my personal story, like how many could I do? Because I also talk about the limitations are you always have to be improving the property. You know, it has to be in a nicer area, bigger, larger, you know what I mean? So you get capped out eventually. And like I also now live in the school district that I have my kids in, so I'm not doing that anymore. So it's not a forever strategy, but my husband and I legitimately bought like over 10 properties doing that. Right, and so I'm gonna tell that story next. Right, but because I did it in the first place and I had good quality engagement, I now know what my solutions are for my following posts. Okay, so if you have different clientele, right, so there will be people in this room who do not want to pigeonhole themselves. Here's how you have a multiple program, okay? So if you go to the next one here, this is about being a working mom. I coach a lot of female entrepreneurs. That's what that post is for. I'm just trying to solve their problems. Okay, and then this one is LO coaching, right, where I talk about, hey, you don't need a whole lot of technology, you don't need anything. I've got a proven process for it. So I'm selling multiple times. So I will, this one was this week, this one I'll carry next week, this one I'll carry forward the third week, right? So I'm interweaving them, whatever the word is for that, right? But that's what that means. So if you have multiple people, you can carry the stories on longer, so long as you know like how they mix together. And they should never seem like out of place.
Intertwining.
It's intertwining. Interweaving, you know? I feel like everyone got it,
Everybody knew what
right?
you meant.
Okay, so who has questions, and if you'd like me to see your post, what can I help you with? Okay.
So you said they have to be in their property for 2 years? I thought it was one.
So you, technically your deed of trust says you only have to live in there 1 year. There's capital gains taxes. So that's why I said 2 years, right? It makes it a little bit different, right? But yeah, there's that. What else? How many of you guys are having success on social media right now? Okay, what are you doing? What's the best practice?
Content, consistency.
Okay, what kind of content are you posting? What's your thing?
Everything.
Okay.
Literally everything. Go on home tour, take video, and then I get like 15 people respond asking where I am, why is it so cheap?
Wow, why is it so cheap? Did you hear that? Why is it so cheap? Okay, it's not everything, right? So you're saying things. So what's your name?
My name, Justin.
Justin, what's your last name?
Caputo, C-A-P-U-T-O.
Is this you?
That is me.
No, they just said.
I'm the one with the dog lover.
Wait, but here's the deal.
But my dog's name is Broker, so.
But here's the deal. It says Broker the Bully. So like, one thing that I do love, right, is you say, I've got keys to the city, just let me know which ones you need.
Oh, cute.
Right? Like, I think we could get a little bit more specific, but you're solving it, and then you're.
It's been there for like 3 years.
But it's good though. It's
Yeah.
like how many of you guys have something that's that specific? Okay, like he's doing the thing, and you know I know that you have a picture of a dog. It is an emoji, but it does say Broker the Bully, so it makes you sound like a fierce negotiator. If I was
I'm a licensed negotiator. There you go.
Are you?
Yeah.
There you go. Right. I'm a licensed negotiator. That would be in my bio. Right. So anyway, so I like what we have here. Let's see, pending.
I feel like I'm in an interview.
No, here's the deal. I want you guys to see stuff from people. There's a guy named Teddy Smith. Guys, if you follow him on YouTube, he has some of the best YouTube content I've ever seen towards getting people to buy. You have your very own Javier Vidana, who is like literally, guys, closing 100% of his deals off of YouTube. 100%. And we're talking about 3 or 4 transactions a month. Okay? So you have some real success stories here. So if you're a success story, I want everyone to follow you.
Tommy
Right?
Smith?
Teddy Smith.
Teddy Smith.
Teddy Smith. He's a Coldwell banker, I think out of North Carolina.
That's what I'm trying to break into.
Okay. Now, guys, I actually have done a little bit of YouTube this year. So it actually, you know, those really great accidents that happen in your life. So YouTube is that for me. I was trying to provide more value to my clients. And so I started doing these money tip videos just on money because I needed to send them to my current database and I needed to send them to my past clients. So I couldn't be talking about mortgages all the time because if I talk about mortgages, my past clients are like, dude, I already bought a house, right? Leave me alone. I already left you alone, right? Right? People like, so I wanted to give them value. So I actually started sending out these money tip videos through my email list in my database and then promoting it on my personal page on Facebook, okay? And I also did a targeted ad. So all of my ads on a business Facebook page, guys, are all directly towards my database. So I am never trying to get anyone that's outside of my sphere, right? I'm just trying to retarget the people who already know and like me. So, randomly, how many of you guys have tried YouTube? How hard is it to get a subscriber?
Hard.
Okay, I think it's really hard. So in 7 videos, I've gotten 159 subscribers.
Wow.
Okay,
Pretty good.
because I'm doing it right with people who know me, providing value on money, which is a highly researched topic. I'm somebody they already trust, right? And I mean, it's crazy how fast it is, but I definitely think if you want to leverage it and grow quickly, you need to use your email list of people who already know and like you. Okay, it's really cool. And then when they start sharing the videos, which happened to me this past week, then you get random people.
Yeah.
So, and then Steve Trang is also someone you should look up.
Yeah.
Real estate instructors.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, we'll make it fast.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just met him last week actually.
So here's how I would follow him, guys. His content is really good. It says, treat your client right, they will come and they'll come back. We beat out 7 other offers on this one and we weren't even the highest. Oh my God, this is where my professional negotiating skills come into play. Have creative strategy, it's not always about the money. This will be the 3rd transaction I've done with Dion, and there's no better feeling than someone who does repeat business with you. Trust is key. You can get business every day, but if you don't have clients that come back, is that really a business?
No.
Right? Challenging thought, right? Little controversial.
That's what I was
Right.
going for.
Dude, be more bold.
Yeah.
Be more bold. This guy is money. Okay, so literally follow him. Let's see. So you have 3,000 followers, guys. This guy is, and in real estate, just know you're not going to have 52,000. You might one day,
Not yet.
right? But you might. But if you're trying to be concentrated, it's not about the amount of random people who follow you. It's about the right people who follow you, who trust you, that buy deals from you, right? Like that's just basically it. I just wanted to be, so this for me, guys, this social media class was about content, what you guys put out there, your messaging, how to market, how to be different, and not to go to all of those crazy classes that tell you how to be an Instagram person. Right? Like you're realtors, correct? Like your day job is real estate, correct? Right? So it's got to be solving problems. It's got to be putting content out. I don't agree that we should be posting all this stuff about all the things that we like in our hobbies. I think if it's authentic, definitely post it. But it shouldn't be like a chore. How many of you feel like social media is a chore? Okay. I used to feel like it was a chore because I wasn't being authentic and I wasn't being in like solving problems or making money, which is the thing I like the most. Okay? So that's what this is about. You can find really great people. You know what's funny? I grew like 14 followers in this class. Did you all follow me?
Yes.
I was like, okay, right? That just happens too, right? So, so this was an in-person conversation, right? You got exposure here. Now you'll follow me, okay? Now hopefully you fell in love with me and you're like, that's my lone girl, right? But what happened here? What was the activity? I'm teaching you a class providing value. Okay, you guys can provide classes, you can put out newsletters, you can record videos, you can do all of this stuff and leverage social media. I closed 800 deals, guys, not because I'm putting out a bunch of ads and I'm an Instagram queen. I close a lot of deals because my database knows where to find me and they follow me because it provides them value. Does that make sense? Okay.
we answer no to, should we be providing information about a loan?
Why not?
Cause when they
Well-
ask me, I tell them, this is my experience, but you ask this question to a lender.
So that is the right thing to do. So I hate that these classes are recorded, because the professional answer is to say that technically you have to have a disclosure and an NMLS number and an APR and all this kind of crazy stuff whenever you talk about loans. So if you ever notice that my social media is always my personal story, because you can tell your personal story and you can tell concepts, right? But if you do talk about loans, you post interest rates, you talk about payments, technically you have to have this, you know what I mean? And I feel like real estate's kind of aggressive in the complaint area as well. So just FYI.
Cause my last transaction, I feel like I knew more of the process than the lender. The lender told this to my clients and I told them, I don't think so, that's not my experience, but she's the lender. And it ended up happening what I said. It took us longer because this and this didn't happen, so it took us longer than what she promised them. And like, my experience working with lenders for so long doesn't say that, but I don't know, she's the lender.
So I would actually tell that whole story. I would just say, you know, I had this story, I contradicted with the lender, it's been my experience over the last like however many years, you know, that this is the process. I only work with people I trust that have a proofing process. And unfortunately, we ended up closing X number of days late.
And they became the lender, not me.
I know, but just say, but you can say that. My clients were adamant about going with their lender, but here's why it pays to work with a professional team. We closed X number of days late. Let me tell you how much this cost them in moving truck, in utilities, in insurance that they started paying, right? Like, and you can make it sound good, right? Several $1,000s in delinquencies, right? Like, it's just, you can tell that story. I wouldn't necessarily talk about a loan program. You can talk about loan process all day long. Yes. You got a lot of experience. Use it, yeah. And be controversial. Hey, look, I know I'm not a lender, but let me tell you, right?
Okay.
Did you have one? That was like a yawn. Okay. I didn't get to say balls in this class. Did I do something?
Just did, good.
Just did,
There you
bam.
go.
I just did. So about the ball story though, because people always get nervous that they're going to embarrass themselves, or they're gonna say something that pisses people off, or they're gonna do something, and this is why they stay in that whole like safe zone area. I one time, and this is an actual true story, I was trying to send branded Halloween cookies out. They were pumpkins with my logo on them, and my logo was at the time white and said "Leave Lizy Alone" with yellow writing. And for whatever reason, the baker made me white pumpkins, but they were like flesh colored because it was like light orange with the white. And you know what a pumpkin looks like, right? So I saw them and I knew that they were really controversial. But I was like, God, they're not perverts. They're just like, no, everything's fine. Like, you know, I'm reading too much into this, go send them out. And then I started getting literal like, did you just send me balls? I got like really foul ones, you know, and I was like, and then people were posting them and talking about them, and it was just like the world's worst thing. So let me tell you, I closed 800 loans after that. So if I can survive,
you, huh?
no, they didn't. But if I can survive something as embarrassing, I literally sent those out to 200 of my best referral partners. Right, my favorite clients, all my realtors, I was like, yep, there's my logo, and it looks like balls. If I can survive that, there's nothing you cannot survive on social media, right? There's just nothing, right? So except for lying and stealing, right? You lie and steal, right? But everything else, guys, even if you want to be super political, right? You can, if that's your clientele, go for it. Have any of you ever seen Russell Shaw's Facebook page?
Oh, yeah.
Most controversial person I have ever seen in my life. And oh, by the way, I have this hour-long video that drops tomorrow with him, and we talk about real estate disruptors. Okay, so let me tell you, he just goes all in. The guy's closing a ton of business and has been for like forever.
7 years.
7 years. I think it's like 30 years, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't want to age him, so several years. Okay? So I just want you to know, be super bold. Go out there and solve problems. Be valuable. But don't be like the other woodpeckers in the world. Okay? Like quality over quantity. Now, did you get value from this class? Yeah, no, raise your hand. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay, so now here's my direct ask. So if you got value from this class, I do home loans for a living. I'm not a professional speaker, and it would mean a lot to me if you would send me your next deal. I promise I will not say balls or shit. And if they love dogs, I'm cool with that too. Okay. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you. It did get hot.
For you.
You guys, it moved up 2 degrees.
You're performing for the post. So,
This guy is awesome, this Caputo man.